Welcome back. We are still talking about Ken's white paper back from 2006 titled Scrum is Hard and Disruptive. We are on idea number 10 out of 15. Let's just jump right into it. Scrum is not a methodology that needs enhancing. That is how we got into trouble in the first place, thinking that the problem was not having a perfect methodology. Effort centers on the changes in the enterprise that is needed. Jeez. Yeah. For all of you out there on LinkedIn arguing about the immutability clause in the Scrum Guide, I think this is Ken's answer. Stop messing with the framework. It doesn't need your help.
Yeah, it's only 13 pages, right? A methodology, like if you're, referencing PMBOK, how much information, how many pages is the manual for that?
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. It requires boot camps at major universities to pass the assessment for.
Yeah. And Scrum you could read in 13 pages and understand it a day, really.
Yeah. I love this. Scrum is not a methodology that needs enhancing. So two truths are in that statement. First, it's not a methodology. It's a framework, and you don't need to mess with it. It's good as it is.
Yeah, and it says that and by the way, I don't think by any means Ken is implying here that you don't need to add other things in, right? We all know that. We all know that here's the thing though. Based on the context of your situation, you may use an additional practice or you may not. I think you and I have both talked and sometimes laughed about the mistakes that we've made where we're like, oh, hey, this retrospective worked so well for me last time. I'm going to use it with this new team and it falls flat. Or this practice that we had around a team working agreement worked so well last time. Let's use it this time. It didn't work, right? Or maybe we should pair program this time and you just don't have the personalities to do it, right? So you can add things into Scrum based on the context of your situation. Right? And that situation will be different every single time. There is no perfect methodology. If Scrum were a methodology, it would tell you exactly how to run your retrospectives, exactly how to run your daily Scrums, the guide by guide playbook on how to do a sprint review, on how to order or manage your product backlog. But it's not a methodology. It's a framework built for complex domains, which needs to be adaptable, your additional practices based off your context. Am I ranting? I'm ranting.
It's perfect. In a recent video, we said you got to bring your own best practices to the party. Set up the scaffolding, set up the framework. Scrum is 5 events, 3 accountabilities, 3 artifacts, 3 commitments. Very, very simple. Stand that up, fill in the space in between with development practices, product management practices, business practices. And get cranking. But the framework itself does not need your help. It's in good shape. And in fact, if you look at the changes from the original publishing of the Scrum framework to today, it's been they have not been adding to it. They've been subtracting. I believe over each and every iteration of the framework, it's gotten shorter. The document length is shorter. The explanations are more concise. They tore things out like the 3 questions during the daily Scrum because it turned into some kind of dogmatic nonsense instead of teams using the event as intended. And so in this case, I think the perfect framework is one that continues to assess and remove as opposed to adding in and piling on as you see in other scaling frameworks and in other methodologies. So
yeah, and that's what the cool thing about it is when you first start working with a team as a Scrum Master, product owner, and developer, it's really worth looking back, a month later, 6 months later, a year later, and seeing the evolution of your process and seeing the evolution of the context that you're working in. I've always liked to, especially around this time of year, where we have, U.S. holidays and some other holidays that we're kind of the world slows down a little bit for taking that time and doing some reflection and being. I forgot about that. But efforts to see that effort that you've put in on the changes to your enterprise, to your team, to your product, to see that evolution And Scrum really enables that. And maybe take the time of year right now to do that. Take a step back with your team and see the evolution of it. If you feel like you're about the same as last year, step your game up.
Yeah, I love this last sentence, Todd. Effort centers on the changes in the enterprise that is needed. I think if half the energy that went into the Scrum Guide user voice went into changing organizations, you and I would potentially be out of jobs.
Yeah.
Let's not focus on how we can make Scrum better. Ken and Jeff have done a great job of that over the years. We need to focus our energies on the enterprise. What are the impediments, the structures, the organizational design, the org chart, the team structures, the lack of cross-functional teams, the lack of collaboration, the lack of cooperation, management structures? What are all those things in place? Your finance policies, your HR rules, all those things that diminish our ability to deliver valuable things to customers. That's where the focus is. And I think that's where you find competitive advantages, and that's where you ultimately find the big wins.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Another great idea from Ken that I think has stood the test of time. Todd, I think you would agree.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. These all are holding true.
Yeah. 10 for 10. Nice job, Mr. Schwaber. All right. That brings us to the end of this episode. Like and subscribe so you never miss what we're delivering. We want to get that value to you as soon as possible. So make sure you click that bell and you're able to check out new videos. Leave us your questions and comments below. We'd love to hear from you. The interactions are great. We get a lot of great comments. We get a few rough comments, but even then, they usually turn great by the end. So we want to hear all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly. Be sure to do all those great YouTube things. Check out the socials. Stay engaged. We're glad you're here. For Todd, I'm Ryan. Scrum on. Keep on scrumming. We'll see you next time.
See you.